Now, when it comes to the woman who allegedly drove 2,400 miles across this country with an AR-15 in her trunk and a wig on her head to try and erase Rihanna from the planet, I really hope she is ready, because the truth is finally coming out. The police file just cracked wide open, and the world is about to find out exactly what happened inside that silver Airstream trailer at 1:20 in the afternoon on a perfectly ordinary Sunday in Beverly Hills. And what you are about to hear is not a script. It is not a music video. It is not a Hollywood pitch sitting on somebody's desk in Burbank. This is the real, raw, document-backed, blow-by-blow account of the day Robin Rihanna Fenty stopped being a pop icon for 60 seconds and became something far more dangerous to the person trying to hurt her family. A protector, a predator hunter, a mother on fire. And before we go a single sentence further into the chaos, the confessions, the canceled celebrity hit list, the so-called praying woman, and the words Rihanna allegedly shouted that may have kept A$AP Rocky breathing today, do me one favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, share this with anyone you love, because the more eyes on this story, the more pressure on the courts, the more accountability for a system that somehow let an allegedly unstable woman walk out of a gun shop with a weapon of war. This is bigger than gossip. This is the story of how close we came to losing one of the most important voices of our generation, and the only reason we did not is because she moved faster than the bullets. Picture the scene the way the LAPD report describes it. Beverly Crest, March 8, 2026, a Sunday. The kind of Sunday that smells like eucalyptus and warm pavement. Behind the gates of a $14 million estate, the most famous Bayesian woman on the planet is sitting inside a silver Airstream trailer parked in her own driveway. Beside her, her husband, the rapper-born Rakim Mayers, who the world simply calls A$AP Rocky, is fast asleep, completely off guard, completely defenseless. The kind of sleep only a man who feels safe in his own home can fall into. Inside the main house, just a few yards of California sunshine away, 3 small children are breathing softly. Riza, 4 years old, the firstborn, Riot, 2, the wild one, and baby Rocki Irish Mayers, only 8 months on this earth. Their grandmother, Monica Braithwaite, is somewhere in the house, so is the staff. A perfectly ordinary day in a deeply extraordinary family. And then, according to court documents first surfaced by the New York Times and confirmed by the Los Angeles Times, PBS NewsHour, and ABC7, the air outside the trailer cracked open. Rihanna, in her own words to investigators, said she heard roughly 10 loud sounds, like something heavy slamming against metal, 10 of them, back to back, sharp, wrong. And in that split second, somewhere deep in the lizard brain that all of us have but most of us never get to test, a question formed. What was that? What was that? Most human beings, when their ears tell them something is off, freeze. Investigators will tell you that. First responders will tell you that. Rihanna did not freeze. According to the police report, obtained by the LA Times, the 9-time Grammy winner crossed the trailer, reached her sleeping husband, and shouted 3 of the most chilling words a wife can ever say. "They are shooting at us." And then, in a motion stunt coordinators spend entire careers trying to fake on a green screen, she allegedly grabbed the father of her 3 babies and forced him down to the floor of that trailer, putting her own body between him and the open windshield. Read that line again, slowly, because we are watching a woman who has spent 2 decades being draped in diamonds and serenaded by stadiums choose, without a heartbeat of hesitation, to become a human shield for the man sleeping beside her. No camera, no audience, just a wife, a husband, and 20 rounds allegedly tearing through the property. And she made the choice most of us, if we are honest, will never know if we could. That is not a pop star. That is a mother under fire. That is a protector in motion, and there is no Grammy in any category that can measure it. But the heroism, allegedly, was not finished. While A$AP Rocky was still pulling himself out of half-sleep, Rihanna's mind, according to the report, was already 3 rooms away, with the babies. Investigators say the couple bolted from the trailer, crossed the driveway, and sprinted through the garage into the main house with one objective: get to the kids, get to her mother, lock them all down. Here is the detail that has been keeping people awake at night. According to ABC7 and the LAPD inventory, rounds allegedly struck the exterior wall of a nursery. A nursery, the wall behind which an 8-month-old baby drinks her bottle and falls asleep to a lullaby. Bullets in the gate, bullets in the fence, bullets in the trailer windshield, bullets in the patio, bullets in an infant's bedroom wall, and bullets in a neighbor's home where 2 more people were going about their Sunday, swept into someone else's alleged delusion. By what the family is calling nothing short of grace, not a single round penetrated the nursery, not a single child was struck, no one was killed. The math should not have worked out that way. It worked out because the woman who heard 10 metallic bangs decided in less than a minute that her babies would not be losing anyone today. Now we have to talk about the person on the other end of that alleged trigger. Every story like this has a name, every name has a backstory, and every backstory, peeled apart, tells you something uncomfortable about the country we live in. Her name, according to court filings, is Ivanna Lisette Ortiz, 35 years old, a resident of Orlando, Florida. By trade, allegedly, a licensed speech-language pathologist. Read that line twice, a profession that exists to help small children form the words their tongues cannot yet shape, and allegedly, the same woman who drove across the southern United States with a black Springfield Armory AR-15 style rifle and 2 30-round magazines tucked beside her on a one-way trip, according to prosecutors, to a property she knew contained 3 children under the age of 5. That is the kind of contradiction that makes you wonder how a person arrives at this point. And in the weeks leading up to that Sunday, allegedly, she was not quiet about her arrival. According to outlets including Newsweek, she had been broadcasting her descent in real time on YouTube and Facebook in a series of more than 100 videos she allegedly called the Praying Woman's Journal, a daily public time-stamped diary, and almost nobody intervened. Brace yourself. The lines that follow are paraphrased from videos investigators say Ortiz allegedly recorded and posted herself, and they are exactly the kind of public warning signs that in hindsight look like neon signs flashing in the dark. In one clip uploaded only weeks before the alleged attack, Ortiz reportedly stared into her camera and addressed Rihanna directly, telling her that when she died, God would be taking the speaker into some kind of promised future, a wish for the death of a stranger, posted publicly, indexable, algorithmically delivered to whoever might be looking. In other clips reviewed by The Sun and Ola, Ortiz allegedly accused Rihanna of being a witch, described herself as a watchman, and insisted, with the calm of someone reading a grocery list, that Rihanna had been trying to steal from her, that her music was some kind of spell, that she and the devil could be loud but not powerful, and in one of the most jarring inversions of reality on the entire reel, she allegedly accused Rihanna of trying to kill her, the woman who would, weeks later, allegedly be the one driving across the country with the rifle. The accusations spilled over to Facebook, where Ortiz allegedly tagged Rihanna's actual handle in crude, baseless attacks on her appearance and her health. None of it was true. All of it was indexed. All of it was visible to any moderator, any officer, any viewer who might have flagged it, and for 117 videos, allegedly, the warning lights kept blinking. Here is how prosecutors say the day itself unfolded, and it reads like the cold open of a thriller you would refuse to greenlight because the premise is too dark for a streaming service. On the morning of March 8, 2026, Ortiz allegedly drove a white Tesla Model 3 into the hills of Beverly Hills. Court filings say she was wearing a wig, a disguise, the kind of detail that, according to prosecutors, is the difference between a moment of insanity and a planned act. Inside the vehicle, investigators say, was the AR-15 style rifle, along with 2 high-capacity magazines. According to the LA Times and the New York Post, a chef working at the residence had already noticed something off. She allegedly saw a strange woman parked outside and would later tell police the woman smirked at her, as if she was about to do something she should not. A smirk, that is the word the chef used, the expression of someone who allegedly already knew what she was about to do. Minutes later, the chef reportedly heard a string of popping sounds, looked up, and watched the Tesla peel away from the curb with smoke drifting from one of its windows. Prosecutors allege roughly 20 rounds were fired at the property, in an area where adults, children, and staff were known to be present at any given moment. The DA would later describe the conduct as extremely dangerous and as having placed numerous lives at risk. 20 rounds, 3 babies, 1 sleeping rapper, 1 mother who moved faster than the math. Whoever was behind the wheel of that Tesla allegedly believed she was about to disappear into the freeway like a ghost. She did not. According to ABC7 and LAPD statements, helicopter units and ground officers tracked the vehicle for roughly 30 minutes before locating it in the parking lot of the Sherman Oaks Galleria. Court documents say officers recovered a rifle, 7 spent shell casings, 2 high-capacity magazines, and the wig allegedly worn during the shooting. Ortiz was taken into custody at the scene, 30 minutes from the crime to the arrest. Then District Attorney Nathan Hochman made it brutally clear that this was not going to be treated as a celebrity story. This was a near-mass casualty event in a residential neighborhood. The charges, prosecutors say, are stacked accordingly. 1 count of attempted murder in connection with the alleged targeting of Rihanna, 10 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, 1 for every person allegedly placed in the line of fire that afternoon, including Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, the 3 children, Monica Braithwaite, 2 staff members, and 2 neighbors, 2 counts of shooting at an inhabited dwelling, 1 count of shooting at an inhabited vehicle, 14 felonies on a single afternoon. Bail, initially set above $10 million, eventually adjusted to a still eye-watering $1.875 million. Hochman, quoted by multiple outlets, said opening fire in any populated neighborhood is extremely dangerous, puts lives at risk, and will be prosecuted to the fullest, and that the only reason no one was injured this time was fortune, or, depending on who you ask, the reflexes of one woman in a silver trailer. And then came the moment that may eventually be remembered as one of the most baffling self-inflicted wounds in modern courtroom history. According to LA Times reporting, Ortiz stood in court and allegedly delivered 1 sentence in her own defense. She reportedly said she would like to say that she was not attempting murder, and that was all she wanted to say. That was it. Allegedly drive across the country, allegedly wear a wig, allegedly load 30-round magazines into an AR-15, allegedly fire 20 rounds at a family home with 3 children inside, and then stand in a Los Angeles courtroom and offer the world a single sentence claiming none of that was about murder? If that is the best the defense has, then prosecutors are not preparing for a fight, they are preparing for a coronation. Her public defender, Derek Dillman, then reportedly requested a mental competency evaluation. Judge Shannon K. Cooley, after a closed-door hearing, ruled there was not substantial evidence of incompetence and ordered the case to move forward. The defendant, reports say, then bickered with her own attorney about hearing dates and at one point allegedly tried to dismiss him outright, a defense unraveling in real time with no exit ramp in sight. Now we have to go where the polite headlines refuse to go, because the question every parent in America should be screaming right now is one simple sentence. How did this woman legally obtain a weapon of war? Court records, as reported by The Sun, allegedly describe a history that includes a domestic violence allegation from June 2023 involving the defendant's ex-husband and her own crying daughter, allegations of past involuntary psychiatric commitment, a multi-year custody battle that began in 2015 with her ex-husband, Jed Nico Valdez Sangalam, and, just 3 months before the alleged shooting, in December 2025, a Florida appeals court reportedly stripped her of all time-sharing rights with her child and barred contact entirely. 3 months. That is the gap between the alleged loss of her child in family court and the alleged opening of fire at a stranger's family in California. Online speculation, which we will treat as exactly that, has wondered openly whether the rage of one custody decision metastasized into the alleged targeting of a famously protective mother of 3. We can only say that the timeline, as alleged, is impossible to ignore. There is more. In 2025, Ortiz reportedly filed a petition attempting to block a Billie Eilish concert at the Kia Center in Orlando, citing alleged permit issues.
In a January upload reviewed by reporters, she allegedly listed celebrities she had personally canceled, names that, according to coverage, included Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, Mariah Carey, and Ariana Grande. Was Rihanna the start of an alleged list? We do not know, the court will decide, but the pattern of alleged fixation across multiple female superstars is the kind that makes investigators take notes. And, in a detail that almost feels like dark fiction, archived photos reportedly show a younger Ortiz posing with a pageant sash labeled Miss Teen Illinois Latina Princess 2006, from sash to suspect, allegedly, in 20 years. Here is the cruelest part of the whole story, and the part that almost nobody is putting on the front page. This is not the first time a stranger has allegedly walked too close to Rihanna's life.
Only the year before, in early 2025, Rihanna had spent weeks sitting through her own husband's gun assault trial, tied to a 2021 incident in which A$AP Rocky was ultimately acquitted on January 30th, 2025. The family thought the dark stretch was behind them. Then March 8th happened. Go back further. In 2014, a man was arrested after allegedly stalking her New York City building. In 2018, an intruder reportedly spent 12 hours inside her Hollywood Hills home before being apprehended, later sentenced for stalking and vandalism. Each story alone would make any human being install a second wall. Stitched together, they form a pattern that is terrifying. And yet, she keeps showing up, keeps creating, keeps mothering. That is not luck. That is a kind of stubborn, radiant courage you cannot teach. Less than a day after the alleged shooting, paparazzi reportedly captured the family loading multiple vehicles with luggage and leaving Los Angeles. No statement, no post, no press conference. Just a mother making the only correct decision available. Get the children somewhere the cameras cannot find them. Sources speaking to Hola magazine reportedly said the household has since upgraded its security protocols. One source allegedly admitted that even with a strong team in place, the realization that something like this can still slip through is genuinely frightening. That is the cost of being one of the most recognizable faces alive in an age where strangers can post 100 videos about you and nobody pulls the cord. The moment the police documents started circulating, social media made up its mind in roughly 15 seconds. Fans, strangers, celebrities, and skeptics all converged on the same conclusion. The woman who soundtracked their breakups, their weddings, and their road trips had just done, allegedly, the bravest thing any of them had ever read about a pop star doing. She had used her own body, allegedly, as cover for the man she loved. Tributes poured in, comparisons piled up, calls for the city of Los Angeles to formally recognize her courage began trending, and in the middle of it all, the couple reportedly appeared together at a high-profile event days later, looking either defiant or simply tired. Both, frankly, would be earned. Now here are the questions that almost nobody on cable news is asking out loud, and that every single person watching this video deserves answers to. How did 117 publicly posted videos, allegedly containing direct death wishes against a global superstar, stay live long enough for their alleged author to drive across the country and open fire? Where were the trust and safety teams? Where were the threat assessment units? Where were the algorithmic flags that supposedly exist to catch exactly this kind of escalation? How did a person with an alleged history of domestic violence, alleged involuntary commitment, and a loss of custody 3 months prior legally obtain a semi-automatic rifle and 2 30-round magazines? That is no longer a hypothetical policy question. That is a question with a name, an address, a Tesla, and a wig attached to it. And how many other women on that alleged canceled celebrities list were a single bad day away from being the next case file? Because if this story has taught us anything, it is that the warning signs were not subtle. They were broadcast. They were public. They were ignored. Let us land this plane the way it deserves to be landed. Rihanna did not wake up that Sunday hoping to become a symbol. She did not put on a cape. She did not rehearse her lines. She was simply existing inside her own life. A wife, a mother, a daughter,
a neighbor, and in less than a minute, when the noise outside the trailer cracked through the windshield in front of her, she made the choice that separates the people we read about from the people we forget. She moved. She moved toward her husband. She moved toward her babies. She moved toward the danger instead of away from it. And in doing so, allegedly, she rewrote the ending of this story. Ivanna Lisette Ortiz allegedly drove across this country to take a star out of the sky. Instead, she handed that star a moment that will outlive every album, every campaign, every red carpet, every magazine cover, because the world has now seen, on the record, what kind of woman Rihanna becomes when the people she loves are in danger. And no marketing budget on earth can manufacture that kind of legend. As Ivanna Lisette Ortiz sits in a Los Angeles holding cell awaiting her next court appearance on May 19, 2026, with the very real possibility of spending the rest of her life behind bars, one truth has burned itself into the timeline of this generation. You do not test the reflexes of a mother of three. You do not point a rifle at a woman who has already survived stalkers, intruders, and 20 years of strangers trying to write the ending of her story for her. And you do not underestimate the lightning-fast instinct of Robin Rihanna Fenty inside her own home. This is her chapter. This is her record. And if you were not already in her corner when this video started, you absolutely are now. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, share this story with every person you love, because in a world that keeps producing strangers with rifles, we owe it to ourselves to remember the people who keep producing the courage to stop them. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in those 60 terrifying seconds in that silver trailer with your loved one asleep beside you? We are personally reading every single reply, and we will all discuss.